It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right. Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Morning Perspective. I got my jacket on this morning. It is cold up here. It's in the 40 degrees, 47 degrees, I believe, when I went outside this morning, which is just crazy. It's September 27th, so it was a little brisk, a little cold out there. And but at any rate, it's a Friday. It's a great day, folks. It's September 27th. We got a handful of days left here in September. And this morning I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to ask some questions. I got some things I can chat about. I could talk your ear off about pretty much anything, but I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to ask me some questions. So if there's things, maybe there's some things that you want to know, how I do things, or maybe there's some things that you got going on in your life that you want some advice on, or somebody else in your life has going on that you might want to gather some advice on. And so I wanted to give you the opportunity to ask those questions. So good morning, Patricia, Christina, Chris, Trisha, Glenn. Good morning, guys. What's happening from Canada? Man, I got a lot of friends in Canada. Canadians are great people. I love them. There's your first inside tip. I love Canadians. There's my first question from my man, Judd Burden. So first and foremost, guys, please share this out. Let's get this to reach more people. I appreciate all of you guys who are tuning in and sharing this and leaving reviews, going to iTunes, leaving reviews, all that kind of stuff. So Judd asked, what are the first three things you do to get your day fired up? The first thing that I do to get my day fired up is literally spend a minute or two, the minute that I open my eyes, just being grateful for the opportunity to live again, to spend time with the people that I care about and love, get the opportunity to chase my dreams. And I think that it's super, super important for you guys to do that. The second thing that I do is I come downstairs and I sit down at my desk. I got everything laid out from the night before, like everything is kind of in its place. One of the things I was thinking of this morning, actually, that this show has helped me a lot with is, just keeping myself organized, right? Because, when you do something like this, you don't want to have a bunch of stuff in front of you that's kind of distracting, get you off track, get you, not thinking right. So I come downstairs, I write out my goals. I write out my plan for the day. That's probably around 6 o'clock, give or take, by the time I get to my desk. And outside of that, I make a list. I have a to-do list that I do, and then I prioritize that. And I start to knock off a couple of small tasks first so that I can gain some momentum. I think it's critical for you guys to understand the power of momentum and to get your day started, with a plan. So many people, and I do it from time to time, guys. I'm not perfect at writing my goals down and being organized, but creating a plan for your day. And I don't care how much or how little you have to do, but when you start writing it down and you see how little you have to do, you're going to start doing more. If you start writing it down and it's a crazy long list, you're going to appreciate the fact that you wrote it down, because you're going to be a lot more effective. Brent Porter, don't be rubbing it in, man. It's 85 degrees in Florida. Dayton, what's happening, man? Dayton's coming to us from Africa this morning. Thank you, Trisha, for sharing, as always. Yeah, watch Morning Perspective as part of your routine. I appreciate you guys. Why did you choose contracting as a career and start building your team? That's an interesting question. Actually, the contracting business, the construction business, kind of chose me. Brent Porter knows a little bit about this story because he worked at the first company that I was working at. So I was actually a director of sales for Verizon. I got relocated down to South Florida. And the very first meeting that I had happened to be with a construction company And that person the person that owned that company happened to be from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So during the Verizon meeting I was having with his company, he was a customer of ours. We ended up, just talking business a lot. And he said, man, you should quit your job and come work for me. And I said, man, you got to be crazy. I got a pretty good job, pretty good gig here in corporate America. I come to work in a suit and tie every day, and I'm in this place that's like, got a bunch of equipment and dirty stuff and all kinds of shit. And I said, man, that dude must be out of his mind. And a year later, I took him up on it. And so, that company was fantastic, taught me a lot. It was fantastic from an educational standpoint. It was an unbelievable foundation for what I do today. And, starting to build my own company was always, a goal of mine. It took me a long time, believe it or not, to get the confidence to do that. And, I don't regret the journey that I was on prior to. I think it makes me more appreciative of where I'm at now. And, the blessings that I have in my life from a business standpoint, from my team, the people who are on my team, all that kind of stuff. So what we're doing here this morning, guys, in case you're tuning in late, this is called Ask Me Anything. So it's fire off a question. You want to know about family, business, leadership. You got a sales question. You got, anything you want to know that you're curious about. I don't care what the question is. I'll answer it. And anybody that knows me well knows that I don't have many boundaries. So have at it. Ask me any question you want. Judd, what do you fear the most? That's a deep question, and I want to answer it as honestly as I can. I think honestly the biggest fear that I have, and it's also the biggest motivator that I have, is at the end of my life, looking back and feeling as if I fell short of what my potential was, of what I was really capable of doing. And I was at a conference a few years ago, and one of the speakers talked about, at the end of your life, you get wherever you're going. I believe in God. I believe in heaven. And so when I get where I'm going, I have this picture in my mind now because of this speaker. It was Ed Milet, who said, when you get where you're going, I believe that God is going to introduce you. He's going to walk you over and say, Brian, here, I want to introduce you to somebody. And this is the guy that you could have been and should have been had you used your full potential. And his statement during that speech, during that presentation that he gave, was that he works hard every single day to make sure that when he gets there, that person is more his identical twin than a total stranger. And, it's a motivating factor for me. I spent a lot of time working for people. And sometimes when you work for people, sometimes those people like to, and I don't think it's intentional, by the way. I'm not saying that anybody is a bad person or anything like that. But I think that sometimes employers tend to try and put a cap on your potential so that you stick around for a long time. And so, I spent a long time, I've always been a pretty confident person, but spent a long time convincing myself of my abilities and convincing myself that it was okay to go and chase that potential. And, I wish that is the one thing that I wish I would have started sooner. I don't regret the journey, but I feel like in the last several years, my life has just had more meaning because of my ability to completely control it and influence it. And the decisions that I make are, ultimately what affect me and the people around me. It's not the decisions of anybody else. And so, Judd, I know that's a long answer to your question. What do I fear the most? But that would be it. It would be falling short of what I'm capable of, and that's to my family, to my close friends, to my circle, to my team. I got chills right now just talking about that, and I think that when we're given gifts by God, and you know what those are, you know what your gifts are, and it is our responsibility to wake up every day and grind as hard as we possibly can to use them, and to leave, when we leave this earth, to leave something that will be talked about behind. And that is what we're trying to do. I know that's what Judd and I talk about all the time. It's never about money, it's never about success, it's never about fame, it's about legacy, and it's about leaving our children, our families in a better position than we thought we could, and just continuing to push forward, trying to impact lives, and as much of that as we can do. I mean, that's why I do what I do every single morning here with you guys. This is this has become a really important part of my day. It's a way for me to get filled up helping other people and spending some time with people that I care about and people that are looking to get better in their lives, and just like I'm looking to get better in mine. So what other questions you guys have? That was a good one, Judd. Trisha, controlling these emotions we have, the hardest part. It is, I will tell you that controlling your emotions, while I'm waiting for somebody else to have a question here, controlling your emotions is a lifelong journey, I believe. And I think that the worst thing that you can do, by the way, when you're trying to, quote unquote, control your emotions, is to beat yourself up when you don't. Because it creates a lot of highs and lows in your life. And, the key to controlling your emotions is strictly not having those highs and not having those lows. So not getting too excited when things are going well, and not getting too down on yourself when things aren't going well. It's a process. Life is a process. Dina, you just asked an interesting question, because for one of our companies, I just wrote out our core values, and I have them sitting here on my desk, and I'm gonna use that as an example to read to you, and then I'm gonna talk about my own beliefs personally. But I think these values will tell you a lot about what we believe professionally. So Top Contractor School is one of my companies, and we felt pretty strongly about, we're in the midst of launching a program that will be ongoing. It's called Top Contractor Elite, and that is, we're trying to recruit an elite group of contractors that are really all share the same core values, vision for helping each other. And so we wanted to list out exactly what that looks like and exactly what those people should be exhibiting to be part of that group. And you guys will hear more about that group here in the coming weeks, but it's getting real close to launching. This off season will be huge for us in helping a lot of contractors, and we got a lot of stuff up our sleeve. If you guys saw the post I put out last night, it was a good day yesterday, really exciting day for me and in our circle in general. My boy Judd Burden and I are working on something. We've been kind of noodling around this idea for a while, and so these core values will be exhibited through what we are working on, and certainly through the Top Contractor Elite program. But the core values that we wrote for Top Contractor School Elite, well, Top Contractor School in general, is be positive. Don't be a person that's trying to bring other people down. Try to be a person that is always encouraging and helping other people, always being willing to lend a hand in a positive, positive conversation of encouragement anytime. Stay humble. It's easy in business to create success and then lose that idea of where you came from. And so staying humble is really important. In the construction world, there can be a lot of success and a lot of financial gain. And, it's important to stay humble, because to help other people, you have to be able to stay humble so that people can relate to you. And that is just stay humble in all aspects of your life. But that's just one of the reasons why it's important. Be a lifetime student. Constantly be learning. I learn every single day. I learn things from you guys in the morning. I learn from my team. I learn from making mistakes, from making the wrong decisions. Just, be a lifetime student. Always stay curious. Lead those around you by taking massive action. I think this is a big problem in today's world, is that, we don't take enough action. We get a hell of a lot of education because we have resources and access to anything and everything that we want. But people think that knowing is enough, and knowing doesn't do the trick. It's knowing and then being able to implement. Help others and give back every chance you get. So, that is servant leadership. It's just, having a serving heart and a serving mind, always putting, others in your mind and in your heart. It is, giving back every chance you get. Give your time, give your money, give your influence, give anything that you could give. I promise you it will make you feel better. Stay 100% committed to moving our industry forward. And that is for any of you guys, just whatever industry you're in, try to push it forward. I think the quote is, blowing out somebody else's candle will not make yours burn any brighter. And in our industry, there is some of that. There are some people that, think that, bringing other people down kind of makes them elevate their own business, their own life, their own reputation in the industry. And so, we're trying to shine a light in our industry and always stay 100% committed to moving that industry forward. Commit to excellence in every aspect of your business, and I'll add on there, of your life. Sometimes we get tunnel vision on being good in sales, being good in operations, being good in certain aspects, but it is about continuing to commit to excellence in every single aspect of your business and in your life. I think not enough people really continue to focus. When they start winning in one area, they get excited and maybe take their foot off the gas in others. So, and last but not least is be a great example and role model to others at all times. Orlando put in here, leading from the front is key. It is, being a great example and role model is probably the most important thing that we can do in this world. It's, that example you set helps you and it helps others. And so, those are some of our core values at Top Contractor School. I would tell you, Dina, that, those align a lot with me personally. There's some other things that I believe, from a family perspective and stuff like that. And then last but not least, our kind of statement at the bottom of these core values is, our purpose is to leave the world better than we found it by creating a community of contractors that consistently live these values. And I think that, as we do that and we create a group of people, we create, a community of people that really exhibit all of those things, that we will make a significant impact on the world, and we will be able to help a lot of people, and we'll be able to inspire a lot of people to do a lot of better things in their life, and just, have more faith, have more hope, and do more things that are bigger than what maybe they thought they could before. What are you doing to push yourself to live your best life? Gloria, I will answer that in a simple statement with a long explanation. Not a long hopefully not too long, but I have taken all the brake pedals off of my vehicle in life, and one of the things that I used to do is I used to constantly just, be nervous, hesitate, not take action. I'd have ideas and I kind of let those ideas just simmer and, not get to enough of those ideas in my life. And so I've taken the brake pedal off of that. And what that has done for me is this. It has created some chaos in my life from a schedule standpoint, from a workload standpoint, trying to juggle everything that I try to do. And I am far from perfect. There are days where I get done a fraction of what I really need to get done. And some of those days are, 6 in the morning until 10 or 11 at night with a few breaks to play with my kids and say hello to my wife. But the reality is this, guys. I think that to live your very best life, you have to feel fulfilled in every aspect of it. And that is, your family, your business, your spiritual life. You have to have some time to yourself every once in a while. And so to live your best life, I think you have to relentlessly and almost borderline recklessly pursue the dreams that you have. And, if you don't do that, you're going to start to regret yourself, and you're going to start to not like yourself for not doing those things. You're going to start to doubt your ability to execute. And so as I rip the brake pedals off of my car in life, my car called life, what happened for me was that I started to gain confidence, and I also started to attract the right people into my life that kind of lived that same way. And man, the results have been unbelievable. And, I wouldn't change it for anything. The days that it feels hectic, I certainly, the balance of all of that is the toughest part. Some days I wish I was a better father and husband because I have to work more than I want. And some days, I wish I was a better leader and business person and salesperson and coach and all those things because I spend, too much time on the other side. And I think that you have to embrace all of that, and you have to understand that you're always going to have something you wish was better. If you have a strong desire for how you want your life to be, you have a strong vision, you're always going to be falling short of something, and you just got to embrace it and realize that's part of the process and hold yourself accountable to constantly improving. And if you're constantly improving, everything will work itself out. Hopefully that answers your question, Gloria. What is your favorite quote and why? Real simple, man. It is Zig Ziglar. It is on that vision board back there, actually. And it is, I want to make sure I read it right. You can have anything you want in life if you can just help enough other people get what they want. And I think that's a quote that I've tried to live by. In leadership and business is, it's important to, always remember who is getting you there. And, that is the people around you, your team, your business partners, your other people that work with your company. There's a lot of suppliers, contractors that work with our company, our clients, our friends, all of those people help us. And so, my theory in life is to, recognize those people and always keep that servant mindset, as a priority, because I think when you lose that and you start to get consumed in yourself, that, that's when the wheels come off the car. And, it is a really important concept to serve others, and, helping others get what they want has literally given me more gifts in my life than I can imagine. So that would be my favorite quote, and that's why. How do you take your fears and make them work for you? Man, Bruce, you're hitting a cool topic here, because my man Judd Burden and I have spent some time talking about this one, and it is kind of top secret, but it's part of what we're going to do at this event that we're planning. Is how do you take those fears? How do you take that anxiety that you get when you got something you want to do, and how do you use that as jet fuel? And I will tell you this, guys, there's a couple of things that I have learned and started to practice over the years that have really made a huge impact on my life, and that is this. Whenever adversity hits and it starts to get really hard, and that happens a lot, it happens, very frequently when you start to hit some adversity and you start to have some doubt in your mind, here's what I want you guys to think. When you have fear, which is anxiety, adversity, all of those things start to drum up that feeling in your mind, in your heart, just remember this. As you're running this race, and you're running this race against your competition and all these other things in business and in life and all aspects, there's always some kind of competition. When you are afraid and things start to get really tough, it's usually the sign that a breakthrough is about to come. And so I have trained my mind to get excited when adversity hits, when I start to get a little fearful, because what I know is this, is that fear comes from uncharted territory. It comes from things that you've never done, things that you don't yet understand. And so there's education on the other side of fear. There is a motivation for me that I know that most other people would quit in that moment. And that if I, kind of take it all on and just pin my shoulders back and have at it, that I'm going to lap those people that aren't willing to take that heat. And so that is literally mentally the switch that I turn when I get into bad situations, is I say to myself, like, number one, I am in control of how this goes. And regardless of how it goes, I'm either going to get an education or I'm going to get a victory. And so at the end of the day, both of those are positives. Zach, I'm going to be a second generation owner. What tips do you have for me to successfully transition? I'm going to start giving you some advice here, but can you tell me how long you have to transition? And then I can give you some more accurate advice. I think that number one thing in a company is culture. It's, the culture that you create, the vision and core values that you have are incredibly important. What do you stand for? And, what are you going to stand for? So, there's a lot of things, and I've seen generational transitions in business. Some of them go really well and some of them don't. And I think that the ones that don't, it comes from the lack of vision and the lack of a plan. And so I would tell you that the number one thing that it's going to take to successfully transition is communication, and then a clear strategy on what that looks like, how you do things versus maybe how your father has done things, and how that would be different. And it's open and honest conversation, but it's as you're going to take that company on and really create your father's legacy, by the success of your company in the future, I think that it's really important to sit down and talk about what that looks like and be honest with each other, kind of take that father-son deal out of it and say, let's talk business and let's talk about what this looks like, all the while knowing that I ultimately care about what your legacy looks like and appreciate the fact that you've, built this company and trusted me with being part of it, and then eventually being the owner of it. That means a lot. And I think that a lot of people sometimes when they're going through those transitions, they're worried more about money than they're worried about the plan, the strategy, the people on the other side, and how they're going to be affected. And I think that transition, man, comes from having a good business plan during the transition, and then all the while knowing what it's going to look like, after the fact. And so you got to have that structure of staff. You have to have an organizational chart. I'm sure your dad plays a critical role in a lot of places, and so you have to start recruiting and hiring people that you can possibly train up to go and take those responsibilities, either your responsibilities when you take his, or some of his responsibilities that he's currently doing. And so I think, a big miss in business today is just open and honest and sincere communication. And it is important to, be yourself, be real, and, tell your dad how much you appreciate what he's done. And that will go a long way, because business is tough, guys. Business is combat. It's a rough and tumble place to be an entrepreneur. And your dad has done it, I don't know how many years, but I would assume for a bunch if he's handing you to business. And so, I think that, and I can, by the way, offline, man, I'd be happy to tell you and give you some suggestions on how to structure that conversation, how to, structure that meeting with your dad, how to feel it all out, and then, just start that process of what does this look like in a couple of years. And, because you ultimately want your dad to feel really good and really secure about that transition. And if he does, it'll be a nice, easy, smooth transition. And so that comes from communication, planning, all that stuff I just talked about. Hopefully that helps. All right, guys, we're to 8:01, so I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate you guys. Great questions. Hopefully you got some insight on some things. Maybe we'll do this again sometime. If you guys liked it, leave something in the comments and let me know that you did like it. And we can do it anytime you want. I'm an open book, and I'm happy to help you guys. It's my mission in life, and that's why I do this show. And it's certainly, some of the greatest relationships that I've ever built in my life have been from helping others, and getting in these situations of answering questions, communicating with different people, building a different network of people. And I would encourage you guys to do the same. It took me a while to get to this point of starting this show, writing a book, having a podcast, multiple podcasts now, but it's really done a lot for my life, and so I would encourage you guys to do the same. So, and if you guys ever have any questions about how to do this, how it works, what it looks like, from a software standpoint, structure standpoint, to put a show together like this, happy to help. Anything that you guys need, just let me know. I'm here to help, and I love you guys for your support. I appreciate all of you, so many of you that tune in here every single morning and share this out every single morning. Tag people, try to get other people watching the show. So I appreciate you guys. Please continue to listen on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, tune in, all the podcast platforms have us. And if you guys missed the show, man, you can catch it right away, right on your phone. It automatically downloads to your device, and it'll be there waiting for you. So, and when you go over there, please like, comment, share those podcast episodes with a friend, post them to social media. Let's get some more people watching this show. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have an unbelievable weekend, and I will see you guys again Monday morning on Morning Perspective. We'll be on another job site Monday morning, so hopefully we can come to you. I believe we can, because we'll be working overnight, and I should be almost wrapped up with my duties by then. But I'll see you Monday morning at 7:30 right here, same place, same time.